At just 21 years old, Jordan Anthony was never supposed to be the headline. He was supposed to be the future, not the present. A rising NCAA champion from the University of Arkansas, a developing talent with raw speed and visible promise, but still years away from challenging the very best. That was the narrative. That was the expectation. But Anthony had already begun rewriting that story long before he stepped onto the track for the USATF Indoor Championships. His collegiate career had been nothing short of electric. NCAA titles in both the 60 meters indoors and the 100 meters outdoors positioned him as one of the brightest young prospects in American sprinting. Yet history has shown that dominance at the college level does not always translate immediately to success among professionals. Most sprinters take time, years of gradual exposure to elite competition, years of refining technique, mastering race strategy, and learning how to perform under pressure. Anthony, however, didn't follow that timeline. His development was accelerated, almost unnatural in its pace. A key part of his identity came from outside track. Before fully committing to sprinting, Anthony played football as a wide receiver. That experience shaped his mentality. Football taught him explosiveness, decision-making under pressure, and, most importantly, confidence. The ability to perform when everything is on the line became second nature. When he transitioned fully into track and field, he didn't leave that mindset behind. He brought it with him. His approach to sprinting became aggressive, fearless, and unapologetically confident. He didn't just want to compete, he expected to win. That belief became impossible to ignore on February 13, 2026, at the Tyson Invitational. Anthony ran 6.43 seconds in the 60 meters, the fastest time in the world that year and one of the quickest performances ever recorded. Suddenly, he wasn't just a prospect anymore. He was a threat. The message was clear: he could run with the best. What remained uncertain was whether he could beat them. Standing across from Anthony was a very different kind of athlete, Noah Lyles. At 28, Lyles was not just a champion, he was the face of American sprinting. Olympic gold medalist, multiple-time world champion, and the holder of the American record in the 200 meters, his resume was built on dominance and consistency at the highest level. But Lyles was more than statistics. He was charisma, energy, and spectacle. In a sport often lacking mainstream visibility, he had become a true entertainer, engaging fans, embracing showmanship, and turning every race into an event. His championship belt celebrations symbolized more than victory. They represented his identity as the king of the track. For years, no one had truly challenged that status, until now. On March 1, 2026, at the USATF Indoor Championships in Staten Island, the stage was set. The men's 60-meter final wasn't just another race, it was a confrontation between eras. On one side stood the established champion, on the other a fearless newcomer who believed he was already faster. When the gun fired, Anthony exploded out of the blocks. His start was sharp, aggressive, and decisive. There was no hesitation, no sign of intimidation. He ran like someone who didn't recognize hierarchy. Lyles responded with experience and composure, executing the kind of race that had earned him global dominance. Trayvon Bromell, another elite competitor, pushed hard alongside them, ensuring the race would be decided by the smallest margins. But in the final meters, something shifted. Anthony's acceleration didn't fade, it intensified. While others maintained, he surged. It was the defining moment of the race, where youth, hunger, and belief converged into pure speed. He crossed the line in 6.45 seconds. Bromell followed in 6.47. Lyles finished third in 6.51. In less than 7 seconds, the hierarchy of American sprinting had been shaken. Victory alone would have been enough to mark the race as significant. But what happened next transformed it into something symbolic, something historic. After the finish, Lyles approached Anthony and handed him the championship belt. It was a gesture loaded with meaning. This wasn't just sportsmanship, it was recognition, a public acknowledgement that a new force had arrived. Moments like this rarely happen so clearly in sports. The passing of the torch is usually gradual, debated, uncertain, but here it felt immediate, visible, undeniable. Anthony embraced the moment fully. In his post-race interview, he didn't shy away from bold statements. Instead, he leaned into them. He spoke like someone who had already accepted his place at the top. He described looking to his sides during the race and realizing something unusual. He couldn't hear or see his rivals anymore. In that instant, he knew the race was his. His words afterward captured not just confidence, but a generational shift. The idea that a new wave of athletes was ready to take control. His mindset reflected his background. The football mentality he referenced wasn't just about aggression, it was about belief. In football, hesitation leads to failure. In sprinting, the same rule applies at a different speed. Anthony's rise represents more than individual success. It signals a transformation in the sport itself. Younger athletes are arriving earlier, competing harder, and challenging established stars without waiting their turn. For Lyles, the moment wasn't an ending, but it was a challenge. Great champions are defined not just by their victories, but by how they respond to moments like this. For Anthony, it was a beginning. One race doesn't define a career, but some races define eras. And on that March evening in 2026, in less than 7 seconds, track and field may have witnessed the start of a new one.